And so here we are. We have a completed print. It looks solid, but it's not. This is just all the supports are still here, and the base is all one base. You can see a little bit of the ridges on the inside. So today, I'm going to be taking off all the support material and put the flimsy little brim that goes around it. That's all it's for. And see if I can, how together we can get the support material out. First, trim off the brim. Ooh, that rhymed. Maybe I always say to cut away from you, but you just do not get the same type of control that you need for some things. Like trimming little pieces. Hey, trimming out 3D prints in a park. Camera's not really set up well to see that, is it? Need to aim that a little bit better. Let's see if that works a little better. Oh, maybe not. That doesn't flat. We'll find something. Need something a little lower. Sit somewhere around there. Try this. Everything's pointing the wrong way. Or just doesn't want to sit flat. Camera's the wrong way. Or on an angle. I really do need a better setup for this. Maybe pointing down there is a little bit better. A little bit. Notice how it is. Can't see if anyone's on or if anybody messaged me. Let's try an idea. Less than ideal circumstances, everybody. Less than ideal circumstances. Watch a park for a while.
I found this on the web.
Hush, Siri. The shadow there. And let's see, a little better. Yeah, a little better. Ooh, it's a warm one out today. I'd like to get a bit of an extra sunburn. Just trimming off a 3D printed piece. This section in the middle all has to come out because it's just all support material for the hollow underneath. This part, I want a sharper knife. Maybe the thinner one will work better for this. Let's see how good I can get this to come off in one piece. Trying to do this nicely without destroying it, because the supports themselves look kind of cool. Guess it's just an aesthetic thing at this point. That's all it really is. But some supports do look really, really kind of cool. And because the bottom section is all one layer, finding the division where the support starts and the actual solid piece starts can be a challenge. And make sure you're not ruining the original piece too, right? At least that's the hope. Ooh, that's a challenge. And of course, this hand is a little damaged, so it's hard to put a lot of pressure on it. Oh, the joy. I'm just trying to be neat about things. Try the other side for now. This is just not going to come off neat no matter what I do. I got the one piece off, one section through. That seems to be alright. But trying to get further. There's a challenge. Oh, I got into something here. Yeah, definitely moving material, that's for sure. It's like a can opener, old style can opener. And this is probably the worst part of 3D printing. Well, I mean, prints failing and having to redo them again 5 times. That's kind of really annoying. This takes no time too. time I have to take this stuff out like this. Break everything apart. So I'm going to need some cleanup after this too. I'm making this way harder on myself, of course. Not because I'd like to try something a little different. Give the support out in one thing. It's like a bit of a challenge. Maybe I could try replacing that end blade. Maybe a little sharper. Of course, more dangerous. At some point, I'm going to just devolve into just tearing it out anyways, but oh no, scratch the 20-year-old plastic on my vehicle. Oh no. Get a line started here somehow. Yeah, like that. You would think the going with the grain, as the case may be, would be a little easier. No, not so much. Oh, there we go. Find the space. And when it's roomy enough. This won't obviously get it out. But it certainly gets into helping remove the support material. Getting in at the top is going to be the challenge, and I think the only way I can do this is by totally tearing it out. Get into partially this way. Sort of the spatula, maybe that'll help get into the top part a little easier. This definitely won't come out perfect, but it will come out. Sometimes when the supports or the material, the temperature is off, it won't come out very well at all. It's a little too stuck. Fine art are given the support material right, but because this is on a grid pattern, it's going to be not naturally challenging anyways. Well, kids are open day camp, I guess that's what's going on over there. Be careful, it's actually warping the top a little. since the client paid for this one. And if you're all curious what it is, this is a transmission shift cover. So shift lever comes up through here. This is going on transmission. I actually have a gasket that matches the bottom of this. So this is going down to California. 1971 Toyota Land Cruiser. Previous owner had replaced the shifter, replaced the transmission, and just cut a hole in the transmission cover too, so that the shifter can come out through it. Fine, but it's not original, so there's that. So it needs to do something to make it a little nicer. If it's going to be custom, make it custom. You're going to do the hack the job up and not go with the original setup. It is what it is. Some people would, apparently some in that crowd really don't like custom works on those vehicles, but there's no vehicle. It's not that great a shape. It's his vehicle. He may do what he wants with it. There are many different styles that people don't agree with, and that's fine. You might not like it. I'm not a fan of the lowrider style. It's not something I enjoy. I don't hate it, but it's not something I would prefer to do for my vehicles. Having a vehicle well balanced with the support material, with the supports, but I just like to do other things with my vehicles. Getting close to getting as much I can done here as I can. Given options, I think I like the off-road stuff better than I would like the. Well, I definitely like the off-road stuff better than like the lowrider style. That's why I got Honda Element. It's more off-roady than lowriders are, that's for sure. This is not the all-wheel drive version. That's for the next version of the vehicle that I get. And one of these days, I'll be able to have a nice machine. You get water-soluble support. You just literally put it under water and it dissolves the support material. That'd be cool to play with. Got all of this top part, but there's another section that goes from here to here that all has support. This part here, about this distance, is solid, but then there's support material under this part, which obviously I can't get that at. But we will see what happens. See it as I get under here and see. So if you watch right here, see it kind of bowing out as I'm pushing down from the top. But because there's still a support structure under this part, so the support structure I'm working at just goes from here to here. There's another support structure that goes from here to here, which I will probably have to just break all of this to get it out. But let's see how this goes. Maybe might be able to do something here. I don't know. These are not easy or necessarily user friendly. But maybe I can do something. they're really stuck to the walls on that side. Let's see how it goes down this way, if I can get into anything. No, it's not coming up. Maybe I have to try the knife deeper in. Oh, what did I say? Don't try this at home, man. I am not at home. Squeaky. It's getting there. It's a slow progress. So it is. Dedication, a little bit of elbow grease. Yeah, it would have been easier just to tear it all out. Probably. But then it wouldn't be as entertaining or as neat if I can get this out in somewhat of a reasonable one piece. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know if you guys are picking up that squeaky noise. Mine does that. Oh, partial break. At the end of the world. That little piece came off right there. Stuff you learn. Who would have thought that that would have happened? What? Apparently did. So there we are. Let's see how we can get this down here now. It's time to break things because there's not much else I can do with this. Try to get into that first drop. Not. I was working the other side for a little while. Change it up a little. Slowest way to open a Christmas gift, eh? Yeah. Going down very deep on the side. See, the whole section is moving up now, so I got part of it open. Oh, I'm stuck. Getting there. See it kind of bubbling out there. Bending out. I know what it is. It's the support material that's just above this section out here that I can't really get at because it's at a 90-degree angle. So destroying stuff. I have to destroy some stuff. All the different layers are in there. The support material was laid down in a grid pattern, so it's basically just back and forth. And start forcing things a little bit more. I don't know how we can see it on the inside being coming up. It's getting there, slow, step by step. Get a few more things that are holding it down, and eventually it'll come out. I'd be surprised if it came out in one piece. It'd be cool if it did. Highly unlikely. That's good enough. So I'll find some more pieces of catching. Just take your time, work it out. It's kind of like life. There you go. Wisdom for the ages. Take your time and work it out. Being in a rush never solved anything here. So close, eh? This needs to go down deeper, but I don't think so. No. Making some progress. It's actually starting to pop out. Kids in the background having fun at the camp day. running around in a wet field after the rainstorms yesterday, last night. Almost there. Ooh, one side up, one corner, anyways. There we go. Ah, we're getting somewhere. Ha! I can get in at that inner lip. Go around for this. This would be kind of cool. It's almost out and in reasonable singular piece. Little bits of crap everywhere, but little. What he's holding on to you. Oh, mostly one piece. Still some support material on the inside. There you go. So there it is. So a bunch of cleanup to do on the inside. Leftover stuff that was stuck. This is essentially it. You see how the walls are built. They support. Just goes literally like a zigzag back and forth. That's kind of a neat material, especially if you're a very tactile person. Now to clean up inside. Pull off most of the big stuff. Never break. So hot out here. Well, humid. And got a little too much into it, I see. So I haven't dug a little too deep with the knife. Got into the internal support structure. It's not a big deal. Fix that. The joys of trying to take something apart that's not easily take apartable. There's a word for the day. Take apartable. Not leaving a mess in the park, that's for sure. And some sunlight. Mixed cloud today. Oh, might get a little bit more sunlight. So this, most of this stuff would be the top layer of this. So if this goes down and this that stuff goes down, then you get a nice little layer on top of that, so you can build your ceiling of the part that you're printing. Because obviously 3D printed parts can't print in thin air, so you need something to print on, hence the support material. So think of the inside of a pyramid that isn't, not the Egyptian one, but it's that pyramid that has internal parts that are open. It just looks like a smaller negative version of the exterior one. Right? Not bad overall. No, it's somewhat satisfying to be able to get it done. It can be challenging. Of course, you don't want to, like I said, don't want to break the thing that you made just to try and get support out. Sometimes designing supports is just equally important. I did the same thing, same style of support on another piece. Problem was the other piece had a cavity that went back. There was no, there's only one way to get at it, and that was a real pain in the ass. It turned out nice, but next time make it designed with two pieces so that it's easier to take off supports and stuff. Or maybe not even need supports with a two-piece design. An open roof, you don't need supports because you're just printing walls. Ideally, you don't do any of this at all whenever possible, because this is time. But all the cool things you see printed, time has gone into it, and a lot more than most people even realize or understand. Those Iron Man helmets are absolutely wild, and they look just phenomenal. But the amount of sanding that went in behind making those things look that good, it's just hours and hours of sanding. So there's a lot of effort those guys put into those things, and props to those guys. It's very monotonous work, not fun work most of the time, but it is work. And for a hobby, it's fine to do all that kind of work, but for a business, this is money. Right? If you're trying to make money from this, not going to do it by doing this stuff. This takes too much time. Unless think of an artist. A lot of time to do their work. So why is it expensive? Time. Spent so much time learning and painting and designing, if you will. Get down to some of the smaller bits to get out. Eventually they'll come out. It's getting clean. I don't know how well there. Maybe a little bit of a with sunlight bouncing off it. It was just small cleanup. Very time consuming, like I said. Maybe bits of this I'll be doing at home just because not convenient to get into doing it here. Don't have the right setup. But I will have to do a little bit of heating and melting of plastics. Finicky little stuff. And maybe, who knows, maybe one day this channel will be a little more entertaining. Now chilling at the park is a nice way I like to spend. Most people don't realize when you're designing something, the stuff that's being thrown away also has to be designed. I chose this style only because it was actually faster than the other style. Uses up more material, the cost to make it is more. Ooh, nice sound. But 5 hours less of printing time. This took 23 hours of print time. Play that one later. This part. So if I'd done the other style, which is easier to remove, but it would take an extra 5 hours. So you're pushing 30 hours of print time. I didn't feel like waiting that much longer to get it done. Guess I wanted to get done to get off to the client that's down to California. Let's see. Hopefully tomorrow, I think. However long it takes me to finish cleaning up this part. So yeah. Sometimes I wish you could do stuff with it, right? Got some really neat structure and characteristic to it. Like you could see through it because it's grid-like. I mean, as a terrain or diorama thing, this could be like a ruined temple if you just trim this up right. That's the joys of being creative. Just, only limited by your imagination and pocketbook. You can get some cheap machines, but you really only learn by when stuff fails. It's easy to find something on like Thingiverse or Thangs or whatever, Cults 3D, download it and just print it, but that's never enough because once something fails, that's when you learn. You can read a stuff and pick up a bunch of things and know what bed temperature and nozzle temperature, and even those will vary between manufacturers. So different people make different filaments, and sometimes even batches of filament. Chemical structure is a little different. They improve something, but I mean, you have to add it up a degree or two or five. It is what it is. It's getting pretty cleaned up there. It's all just the niggly little stuff. Get in there with a knife to clean up a few more things. Oh, it's turned out kind of cool. Oh my! How did I get knife marked on the top of it? That is bizarre and annoying, but here we are. Fix a few little things. This is going to get painted anyway, so it's not going to stay this color. Might get a little bit of sanding done, and he'll primer it and paint it to match some of the interior bits. And it'd be cool just to see it in the vehicle being used. This really is small bits at a time. The bulk of it is done. The lights. I won't do much sanding on this. not go do any at all, really. I don't understand how those two dig marks got in there. That's bizarre. There's no way the knife went through that. But I have to clean up the swat, so you can kind of see where cleanup needs to be done. This edge right inside is smooth. This edge is rough, so it's still got some support material stuck on it. Go in there. This one's not too bad, just because the support material is stuck to the side and not to the to the one bottom, bottom, and not this side. So. And now that side is smooth-ish. Oh yeah, this was 49 minutes, so let's say 45 minutes to clean that up. If we plan on ever trying to make money at this, understand, I just spent 45 minutes cleaning up this part, and this is relatively straightforward. So even after I'm all done, even if I got everything done real quick for the rest of it, which will probably take another half an hour, looking at an hour and a half of time. So how much is your time worth when you're making something for someone? People say it's so expensive, I can buy it cheaper. Yes, you can. And it's going to be cheaper quality, cheaper material, cheaper construction. Everything's just going to be horrible about it. But hey, let people choose what they want with their money. You get into custom designing things. This is a one of. You cannot buy this piece that I just made anywhere in the world. Well, people pay for that. If they want something custom and everybody wants something unique for their purpose, they will pay for it. Don't ever sell yourself short on your skills. Understand what the market is willing to pay. Custom stuff is hard, but it demands a higher price. It takes more time. Mass-produced crap out of China is exactly that. It's mass-produced. It certainly is convenient. And some of it has its uses. Like this, I think this is from a dollar store, so it's obviously useful. But if someone tries to compare my stuff to something mass-produced in China, they don't understand. This turned out really nice. I think even this edge has some support material kind of tucked against it tightly. Yeah, see, the piece right there. I can see it. That's just tucked right against it, and unless you really looked, you realize there was a break in it. This knife's not sharp. Find the right tool. It's a handy knife for just digging in general, but that's a little dull for precision work, and I need a little bit of precision work right now. Of course, this could be too tight, too sharp, and dig into the product. So some support material over here, it seems. And the city decides to do the park maintenance now. Yeah, some support material here. So hard to see because it matches the sides. That's why you do a good inspection. Always do good work. It is not worth cheaping out. If you start doing cheap out, people will talk. Then you wonder why you're not doing any business. Well, because you're doing the cheap thing. If you're gonna do it right. People will always come back to people who do give them good work. And someone's not willing to pay for it, well, they're not your client. They can go and find someone who can do it cheaper. And there will always be someone who will do it cheaper. And that's fine. That's how the market works. It's only ever worth doing it well. Of course, there's always compromises. If someone wants something done in a given time and is not flexible, it's like, okay, well, here's what you get for being inflexible with your time, the stuff you want. Not worth fighting over it. Let people do what they want with their money. Guide them best you can. Say, hey, you can do it for that. But what are you going to get? In case you're wondering, this is not like a $25 or $100 product. You paid a little bit more for that, for this. It's custom work. It's going to look really, really cool for them. Sometimes I'm, a little more excited to see it done than the people who buy this stuff from me, who ask me to design stuff for them. Because sometimes the ideas are just really cool. I went, was at a Comic Con. You know those guys who do those spray paint work? They do the spray paint artists and come up with scenes. They're just phenomenal how their minds work with that kind of stuff. So there was a guy doing it this down in Niagara Falls. And I said, all right, so my idea is we have a wizard and a dragon fighting a cosmic horror. Uh, so it's like, all right. So he did it. And I have the video of this. He painted this thing up 5 freaking minutes. Phenomenal. And it looks really cool. And even after, it has to sit and dry before I can actually take it. So, and once it was dry, before I took it, say, hey, I got to take a picture of this because I liked how this turned out. Even he liked the idea so much that he was so excited about the idea and the finished product than the actual process. So it's always really cool. We can inspire someone, and they were able to come up with something pretty much on the spot, literally 5 minutes on the spot, and he had something done. And it was really, really kind of cool. Hope I can run into him again one day. So I can tell him how much I brag about it to everybody else. It's just a small, minor, and niggling little stuff, like little bits and pieces. Once I've got it all cleaned, I'll run it over with the heat, so that it's nice and sealed. And all the little bits are not dangling. You get all kinds of spider webbing with filament. You got melting plastic, and it sticks together pretty good. But it will just kind of spider web out when it's stretched. Clean this up a whole ton of little. It's all just so minor. It's like pretty much clean. It's just some small stuff. Like think of it as if this is something you really want. Do you really want the cheap version? All kinds of little bits and crap hanging down. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm so really annoyed about the knife marks that went all the way through, which is really kind of weird. I guess it did. When I went through the support. Not a big deal. It's just minor. Bit of sanding and melting and clean stuff up. A little bit of fixing to go on. Yeah, no project will ever come out perfect. But you can try for it, aim for it. What's the point of doing it cheaply? Some stuff designed to be cheap, and that's one thing. Especially when you're putting some work into somebody else, that they're paying for it. Yeah, you want to put in the good work. So there's a rubber gasket that's going to sit on here. The rubber gasket is exactly this bottom piece right here. So it's going to go down. He'll drill some holes, and then it'll be mounted in there. So when you get a shifter, the shift goes all through here. And well, I don't think the camera will pick it up very well, but I'm trying to get the sunlight on it. Yeah. So right here, there's a little hair. That's what I mean. So minor. Looks like a little spider web. With a little bit of heat, the flame just run by it and it all shrinks right up. Sometimes a little ball and you just rub it off and it's gone. I keep saying I'd like a nice little workshop. Sometimes just being out here, there's a nice little breeze. So it's hot out, but there's a good breeze right now. So it's keeping things cool. Coffee break. Union mandated coffee break. about done as much as we can here before I have to do the rest at home. Clean up a few things. Finessing, if you will. But this is essentially done. I'll be happy with it. I'm still annoyed that I have to sand that part or clean that part up, but it is what it is. There's that guy. I'll show you the other thing I did. Maybe you were on the other previous live stream. There's this piece that I did. I was cleaning it up. I was sanding, grinding down the rough spots. So you saw the support material on here. This was the grid pattern support material. Just in case anyone new joined. That's a grid pattern. So where it basically just one continuous wall just goes back and forth to create support. This one had organic support material, so it's like looked like a tree holding it up essentially. So it would only have material where it needs to be. Think of it like a wheel on a car. The wheel rims are not solid; they have spokes. So the support is only where it needs to be. It doesn't need to be a solid piece. It could be. That's what the support material is like. It's like a solid piece almost. Small gaps between each of the solid lines. This one is different. Had this the organic style. So take them off, but they don't break off cleanly. Like this broke off relatively cleanly. These ones don't. It uses less material, so it's more efficient use of material. But to get it off, I literally had to start with a hammer and just a blade, and just to kind of get under them. But even then, they didn't break off cleanly. And then when they would break off, there's still just small little bits, small little rings left over because like I said, it's tree, like it's literally, it looks like spokes of a tree. So if you took all the leaves off, that's kind of what the support would, but they all ended in a flat top to support because this is printed like this. So then I had to grind it down to make it, smoother. Being rough on this side for this particular case is not a big deal. It's for the client. This is the part that's more important. So, and I couldn't print it like this because then this side wouldn't be as smooth. The top levels print off really nice and smooth when done rightly. And I could even make that just a little bit smoother with a process, but I wasn't going to bother adding that time onto it. This one has little, I don't know how well this will pick up ridges, little pointed ridges. So that would be really hard to do printed this way. I don't think it would turn out anywhere near as good. And then I would still have to do a bunch of cleaning, and then it would like this. So yeah, this is the best way to print it. But it takes a lot of manual labor to fix this up, to clean it up so that it looks decent. Now this is all going to get coated in epoxy resin anyways. So this side doesn't matter too much. It just has to be decent. And it's decent. The holes are smooth. There's no stuff left over. I went through with a knife and cleaned up everything, so everything is as smooth as you can get. Then when they put the epoxy resin on it, it'll just seal it all in and it'll be nearly perfectly smooth. Depends on how well their epoxy job does. So this was a long print too. This was 62 hours for this to print. That's just the print part. And then taking all that stuff off, add another 3 hours, I would say, cleaning and then sanding. My previous live stream was doing that. I'd taken this out, brought my old Dremel tool, and just ground down everything. So it's rough, but it's it's smooth and consistent. So this one was 23 hours to print this guy. If I did the organic supports, like I said earlier, if you weren't here, that would added another 5 hours for the organic supports. Use less material, but takes longer to print. So pick your battles. This one was worthwhile doing organic, but this one, because I wanted time more than I wanted efficient use of material, I think the grid pattern was better, especially for the square ones. because the square ones you got a grid that easy to take off. As if you were here all for the whole time I took it off, it was easy to take out. But the other guys would be harder to do the organic style to get the deep on the inside. There's very little access for a Dremel tool to go in and try to clean up. That would be a pain in the ass. It could be done, just a real pain in the ass. So this client should get this next week when she's back from her holidays. This stuff will be clean. I get to mail this off down to California, where he's going to do a little bit of sanding and coating himself, and then paint it to match his interior. Some really cool stuff. I really enjoy doing these types of projects because you're solving a problem and you're doing something really cool, right? And right now, and my stuff is still relatively cheap. I'm still building the business and having some fun. So if you want to see some of the cool stuff I do, the retail side of things that I make for cars, and I got some other miscellaneous things in there. It's dragondon.net. So DRAGON.com. Pardon me, .com. You can see the cool stuff I do for that. And if there's something neat that you see you want me to print for you, I'll print it. I don't mind, and I'll ship. Shipping, if you're in the States, your shipping cost is somewhere going to be around, well, I'm going to say $15 Canadian ish to get it shipped from there. And that's with tracking and everything. But the part will vary depending on what it is. And if it's a file that already exists, which I should saying, with 3D printing, if those of you who aren't into it, there are two aspects of it, like website building. There's the design aspect, so you have the file, and there's a print aspect. So both have different costs. If you want someone who can design something pretty good, then you're looking at somewhere around $50 an hour. Now, this was a relatively simple one to design, so it didn't cost me too much. I think I charged them maybe $50 to design this, and the gasket was like another 25. So it was they were an easy design. But then the print will just depend on the material, the time, and you could see. I spent, I think, somewhere around. I will probably spend all told about an hour and a half just cleaning this up. So that's got to be factored into your print. Now, I didn't charge separately for that time, if you will. I have to kind of build it into everything else. So, cost of doing things, not cheap, but you get some of the coolest stuff when you pay the right money and the right people and you work with them. Work with people. Understand things are going to cost. They're not your Walmart specials. You're not going out there and buying the stuff that's been made by child labor in China. I'm not going to say that everything in China is made by child labor, but there is a certain well-documented amount that is. And in some circumstances, that may be okay. It's a different culture, and it's hard to get away from anything that is made in China these days over here. People want things cheaper, but those same people also complain about the child labor in China. So it's like, well, stop buying things cheaper. It costs more money. Well, if you force a company to make things cheaper, they will find ways to make it cheaper. Whether it's ethically or legally allowed in this country or not, or this side of the world continent, just depends. Pick your battles. But support your local guys. I mean, they spend money at your. You're someone who owns a convenience store. Buy something from someone who's local so that they can continue supporting your convenience store, or I'll say grocery store, but even them they've gotten cheaped out. My mom used to work at a grocery store where they would, and a big chain too, where they would literally bake things in the store. Now they just kind of essentially warm them up from frozen. They don't make anything from scratch anymore. There's no more scratch bakeries as they used to be called. One of the things my mom had started, and this was going a long time ago, for my birthday cake. She did something that they've only been doing for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years officially. When they would get their cookie dough in, they would come in this big sheet, and they would just use the cookie cutters and they would cut out the things and bake the dough. Well, my mom cooked up the whole sheet of cookie dough. They put icing on it and then drilled holes into the cookie so you can put the candles in. So I had a giant cookie for my birthdays for years and years, decades even. And that was just cool. And then, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, I saw them at the store actually doing it. I'm going, ah, my mother did that 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Oh, shit, even longer than that, I think. Let's say at least 40 years ago. If you see it, it's nothing new. My mom was doing that a long time ago, back in the 80s. It was just cool. And it's funny, because it was a giant cookie, you couldn't eat too much of it. I mean, in a cake, I don't, I've never eaten that much of cake, but I certainly couldn't eat that many pieces of a cookie because they were just so big and the icing, and very filling too. But also really enjoyable. Had a lot of fun doing it. Having those cookies. Mom hasn't done it in a while. Well, she hasn't worked there in a while, so can't do it. And I think they charge an arm and a leg now, so for something like that, which is funny, dude. I think they charge more than the value of the cookies, but it costs them less effort and less time. Well, maybe about the same amount of time. It's less effort, so less money to actually produce that. But they're going to charge you more for it because unique. If only mom had patented that idea, that would have been funny. Yeah, just taking off tiny little bits now. Stuff that just can't be done en masse. I don't know if I can do this any better. That's what I mean. Trying to get in there, you don't have much room. So getting at some of this stuff is not fun. Definitely a challenge. This is not that important, that area, as long as it's cleaned up. Yeah. Definitely run some heat, like an open flame, just like one of those barbecue lighters, just go over it so that the stuff is melted and not just going to fall apart. Maybe just sanding and clean this up a bit. Yeah, this is going down on the transmission, so you're never going to see it. It just has to be functional. So once this is all glued down and cleaned up, that's all that matters. I mean, to ask any questions that you want, and it's that's why I'm here. I may not always see the questions because, well, sunlight on an LCD screen hard to see, and of course when I'm looking at here, I'm not looking at there, so there's that too. So if you ask a question and I don't respond right away, I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm just not seeing it. The balance of how much do you want to clean up, because you can always finesse things. When you're one of these guys who are a maker, you can always make things better, design it better, design it more efficient, make it look cooler. Support material. Yeah. I'd rather use this as a sharper knife, but it's too big and I can't. Need to keep it flat. I can't keep it flat. It's a better tool for the job as far as sharpness goes, but I didn't bring any extra blades, and I'm down to. That's all I got left for this blade, so I have some back home. a way to do this. Would it be nicer just to kind of go down once? Sure, but odds are something's going to get hurt, damaged. This is the way shit goes. So, again, take your time, get it done right. I'm in no rush. That was it. 1:45. Not bad. Balance of scraping this off and not trying to do too much damage to the actual good layer. This knife isn't quite sharp enough. I'll probably have to finish this off at home with a new blade. This is like the top layer of the support material that didn't come off. I pulled it out. It happens. And the support material is just kind of supposed to be barely glued together, melted in this case, if you will. So this comes off easy. Sometimes it just will stick the other side. I do have a ton of paperwork still to do. And yes, running a business, paperwork sucks. Really, really does. You would think of these days, things would be a little easier. We have so many, we'd have a lot of tools to make things easier. The tools haven't evolved. It was near as much as the businesses themselves. Everyone needs multiple sources of income from multiple places. Problem is, they all report differently. So now you need something that can handle different types of reports from, 4 or 5 different sources, which doesn't exist. You have to develop your own. So there's a business idea. Something I'd like to kind of do and help give back a little bit to the community, make life a little easier for people. Clouds cover coming back, but they were calling for a little bit of rain later. I should double check on that. But minor rain, like 0.1 millimeters, like so little. Almost there. Keep moving. You're making progress towards your stand goal. Yeah. I'm doing enough exercise just doing this. This is some work. At some point, you just gotta say, okay, it's clean enough. I'm going home now. It's done. I can move on with the world. If you want to see my other playlists and other live streams, they're not as entertaining. Some are just chill out, sitting in the back here, having casual conversations. I'm more than free to watch those ones too. I do these. I'm right now trying to do at least once a week. I mean, if it's nice enough out and I'm feeling enthusiastic, I'll do more than one. I like it just to be a casual one. Just sit and chat with people. I'm toying with the idea of doing one where I just talk about my Korean experiences. I lived in South Korea for 5 years, so that was entertaining. Lovely place. I'd like to go back and visit again someday. A little John Deere thing for the baseball diamond guys and move equipment around and whatnot. I think we're just about done. This is really, really minor touch up and nitpicking here. This part tends to take longer than actually removing the support structure, just because you're going after such minor little stuff. Ouch. Yeah, a little bit of heat. Take out some of the edge, the little hairs or bits that stick up. Fun fact, POA is flammable. So if you get a long piece, you actually catch fire. You can watch like burn like a candle. I think what I'll do is I'll do a little bit more cleanup. I used a little bit of maybe some clear Gorilla Glue just to go over this parts so that it stays clean and smooth and in place. Gorilla Glue can be really cool. I don't know if you get the right stuff. It's actually stuff that has creates bubbles in it, so not something you want to put into something where you can see. But even this, because the client's going to see it, not making them see it. I'll seal this off so that it looks nice, does well. Running a business, your money's always going to be in the follow up. You do good work for people, they will refer you. Who again, you can do more good work for them, who will refer you. That's what you want. It takes years to build up. Because not everybody's going to refer you all the time. Because not everybody needs work all the time. I think that's about it. The rest will be done at home. One of the fun things you get to printer is like chainmail. I'm gonna try to print a bunch of these and see how it does with the next art crawl. Haven't printed one of these in a while, but a lot of people, I brought it out as a sample. People really like it, so it's like, okay, I'll print a bunch more, just as a fidget thing. We need to see how it prints out because, like I said, I printed this probably about 3 years ago, maybe 4. I forget when. I eventually like to do bigger pieces. I mean, I got a bigger piece, but let's see what it's like to customize these pieces. A lot of people say do coasters, or women want a bikini. Like, I got women who want me to make them a bikini. That's the funny part. All right, I think we'll call for the day. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Subscribe so you can see the next ones when I do this kind of stuff if you like it, and check stuff out. Have fun.